Hello, internets. Have you ever bought a knife off of Wish.com and taken it to a knife shop and asked if it was real? You're stupid. We're going to figure out the difference between fakes and reals. Today we're doing the Glykon.
Let's talk about that.
Let's do some unboxing here. I guess it goes without saying, this is the real, that is the fake.
Yep.
This is one of the few I was actually impressed with because if you just have a cursory glance at it, it looks pretty
Well,
good.
here's what I was impressed with is we ordered this easily 2 months prior to you watching this video. So this fake came out very fast. And so, but from the outside, you can see the finishes are a little different. The chassis screws are a dead giveaway. These are T8s, T6s. That's a T30.
One of the big things they do is they don't do the jimping all the way around to save a little bit on costs. And it's also not a, I mean, then you turn it over and it's like, well, what the hell?
I mean, it's different color, different texture, different size, different everything. But you have to have like knowledge of them side by side, and they're different lengths too.
Yeah, I mean, it's overall just a slightly smaller knife. It's like a Glykon 90.
Weren't you just saying that everything out of China was weak?
Was also a big thing is the engraving, the signature on the clip. The real one, it's engraved deep in there, and the other one is just etched on top.
And Microtech, when you watch the videos they put out describing how to tell the differences in the fake, the engraving is something they bring up a lot. And just overall size-wise, you can see how much smaller the blade is. Another thing that we noticed too is in the Glykon, you can see in the parts and the B-roll and stuff that the switch, the 3 switches are one single piece of milled titanium, whereas in the fake they're 3 separate pieces. So you can actually wiggle them ever so slightly, but you can wiggle them individually of each other and feel a little bit of play in there to tell that it's fake without having to take it apart. But if you are fortunate enough to take it apart, you'll see, oh, you know what? I bet that's why it's smaller. Because the slide they use that in the middle looks like it's taken directly out of like a fake Ultratech or a fake Scarab or something.
Could be.
And I wonder if they just I wonder if they just gave an exterior aesthetic treatment to an existing engineering of like a, because the backspacer is different on both of them too. This one has a relief cutout and goes around the nut for the clip, whereas this one doesn't.
I mean, blade size, like just looking at it, you can tell that standard like nice dagger that it comes to versus this one is more like a leaf shape. So.
And I always tell people too, the packaging is always a dead giveaway. If you have the packaging,
I mean they don't put Chinese characters on boxes from the factory.
Well, you know what's funny is even when they get all the wording right and the look right, the material is always so crappy and cheap, and they always show up beat up.
This feels like I got popcorn in a movie theater. Like, right? Or something like that. It doesn't feel like a Microtech box.
Yeah. Microtech boxes are sturdy. Like, you could almost stand on one if you didn't crush it. Like the beer can trick.
Yeah.
I mean, for me on these, the big thing is, especially with Mike taking it apart and me watching him, like some kid with a flashlight, there's just a lot of cost-saving measures put in there that durability-wise obviously aren't going to play. Like the trigger is 3 pieces, and it's a finicky little screw apparatus thing inside, so it's going to come apart eventually. They don't use Loctite on anything. They use these cheap stainless steel screws.
Yeah, the screws aren't a matte finish. The beveling on them is all wrong.
You're going to strip those out, and they're probably just pressed steel shavings, so they're going to fall apart.
The good thing is you can always replace them with cheap ones just off the shelf because you don't have to have custom Microtech screws.
You don't get an actual lanyard hole, and then there's little artistic details that they just don't do because it's cost saving. So you're, I mean, even if the steel's spot on, you're still buying a lesser knife.
I don't know, saying that to you before the camera started. Taking the Glykon apart and just finding out that 3-piece switch,
just one piece.
That is a very impressive piece of engineering when you see it like by itself. How they got that to work.
Everything had to line up perfectly.
Yeah, exactly.
They've got a 15-axis CNC. That's fine.
Something, right?
It's traveling backwards through time.
Yeah, I was gonna say it operates in other solar systems and other universes. So then now what we're gonna run into is people saying, yeah, but you get this one for $80 and it's just as good. So we Rockwelled them.
Yep.
Who wants to see the numbers?
I don't remember what
I want to see the numbers.
Woo! 52, 52, and 53. It did not Rockwell all that good.
Wow, that's embarrassing.
And we did this, when we did this, we did a couple of knives at one time, and we did, after, what was it, every 2 knives, we recalibrated the Rockwell to make sure that we were still on numbers.
Did you Rockwell this one?
I did not, because it's going to be sold, and I did not want to Rockwell.
Fair.
Microtech puts out their number. I'm going to go ahead and assume that their number is correct.
Which is 5960.
I don't remember. We took it apart a month ago.
Oh, okay, that's fair.
Also, it's not named what steel it's on there.
M390.
Yeah, so
okay.
so I'm going to assume that they are Rockwelling 5960.
They do it in-house, so I imagine.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm sure they publish their own numbers, so we're not here to critique Microtech. We're here to show people why not to buy the fake ones, because yes, it looks like a knife, but at 52 Rockwell, it's not much of a knife.
Yeah.
I mean, you can get a skinning knife from the 50s that Rockwell's higher than that.
Yeah. Actually, much higher, much better.
Yeah. You can get some Hitachi 440C that'll Rockwell in the 60s, and that's an old formulation, but.
Hitachi don't fuck no round.
Cool.
And just the overall, I mean.
It sounds better.
And the action on this is smooth. There's no hang up. This is kind of.
Oh, misfire.
And you can feel it. You can feel it binding at the front because
it's all the different pieces are.
Exactly. Which is probably why they went with they put the extra effort in to have the 3-piece. But you could just feel it binding and not functioning. But this was an interesting one.
That's sort of fun.
Yeah.
They tried.
They,
At least they made a valiant effort.
At a glance, it looks great.
I gotta say, like when we do these fake ones, that's how I decide which ones to get. Is like if I can't tell in the picture. Now there are people that have screwed us over. Like when we bought, it was like a 42 trainer or something like that, or like I think it was a Benchmade 67 or something like that.
Spiderfly.
Yeah, and when they show, like they'll show up and it's like they have obviously used the pictures of a real one to sell their turd that they mailed us. So I try to find ones that you know I can. You know, they look almost legit in the picture, and then we bring them here, take them apart, and figure out the real reason.
Cool.
So don't buy a fake Glykon.
This is like the derpy dinosaur.
Derpy
That's what it looks like. It's unproportional.
The derpy, yeah, it is. The blade does not look big enough.
Yeah.
I don't know. Valiant effort. I don't know why they always have to do this weird gunmetal gray paint instead of just doing burnished aluminum. It'd just be so much easier to just be blasted.
Well, you know what? As fast as this came out, like I mean, these things we had only ever had one Glykon in stock, and by the time I found a fake one online, I was like, oh shit! So I ordered that on. You know, it takes 6 weeks for the package to arrive, and then we filmed. It sat around for a while.
Right.
We filmed a video, and all that kind of stuff. So it's been out a little bit. The Glykon's been out a little bit since you're probably seeing this video, but not a lot of people have taken the effort to get up a fake one and set them side by side.
Cool.
And boom goes the dynamite.
on that note.
Yeah. Like, comment, subscribe if there's a knife that you want us to do in the future. If you want to argue with us, we'll totally pin your comment.
Or if someone spots a difference in the B-roll that we didn't bring up, there's a couple of things here and there. We didn't bring up every little detail.
Engage.
Yeah, please. Well.